I'm Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, we're going to be using the VP4, and I want to show you how to set up expression control of time-based effects like delay and reverb. This is a really handy way to set up your reverb and delay to give you fine control over them when you're playing lead or rhythm guitar. It can also get around having to stomp on a bunch of extra switches and add some really nice versatility to any of your VP4 presets. So to begin, let's start with this stereo delays post factory preset. I'm just going to live on scene 1 for this one, this dotted 8th wide preset. This is a Fender Strat Ultra 2, and at the moment it sounds like this. That's a gorgeous sounding delay. I should mention as well, there's a little bit of the gold plate reverb in here. We'll revisit that one later in the video, but for now, you can see the mix in that delay block is set at 45%. And for playing rhythmic echoes like we heard in there, or for having nice, long, sustained lead notes, I think that delay is dialed in just right. However, playing busier lead lines on there, I think it's just set a little bit too wet. So ideally, I would like the ability to turn that down. Now, I've currently got a Fractal EV1 expression pedal plugged into the pedal 1 jack on the VP4, and I'm using a TRS cable to do that. These are the standard ways that you would set up any expression pedal with any Fractal audio device. And if I want to map the expression pedal control to any parameter in here, I can do that with the editor or on the hardware in a really simple fashion. In this case, we want to control the overall delay mix. So I'm going to go to the mix parameter. I'm going to right click it and it brings up the modifier menu. Then I can set my source, in this case, to pedal jack number 1. Again, that's where I've got my expression pedal plugged in. If you're using pedal jack number 2 or you're using external MIDI controllers on here, simply set those to one of those values on there. But we've got pedal jack number 1. You can see the minimum range on here goes to 0, so it would completely remove the delay. But I want to set the maximum somewhere to that value that I had before, around 45%. 44.5% is close enough. And you can see as I move the expression pedal from the heel down to the toe down position, you can see this parameter moving on here along with the overall mix on there. So I'm going to start in the heel down position and play a little bit, and I will slowly sweep that up as I play. So I've got expression control over the overall delay mix there, and I was simply just moving my foot forward there so that you could see and hear the effect as the delay became more prominent. Keeping the mix below 50% on there also ensures that our dry signal level isn't changing, which is really nice. I don't have to worry about continually balancing out the overall delay and dry signal. If I'm keeping the mix below 50%, the dry signal does not change on there. Now, this does take a little bit of practice to get used to swelling those delays in. I think a real classic way to do this would be to keep the delay lower while you're playing busy lead lines, and then when you've got a sustain note or you've got a break and you're playing to push the pedal forward, I actually always like having a little bit of delay on there. So I would go back into the modifier menu by right-clicking, and I'd turn this minimum value up somewhere around 10% on here. So now at the heel down position on my expression pedal, I've still got a little bit of delay in there. It's not totally dry, and it is going to make it a little more musical throughout that whole range on there. I'm still going to leave the max really nice and wet on there. So I'll do the same thing when I have a sustain note. I'm just going to push the pedal forward. When I start playing, I will bring it back into the heel down position. lovely stuff. We could, of course, control multiple parameters at the same time in multiple blocks. So if I not only wanted more delay, but I wanted more reverb as well, I could assign this expression pedal, say, to the reverb mix. Another way we could do this is in the reverb block, say, set the maximum amount of reverb that you want. Let's say I want the maximum amount on here to be around 35%. Let's right-click the input gain, set the source to pedal number 1 again. And in this case, the input gain is just going to serve as a multiplier of the mix control. So we don't even have to worry about the minimum and maximum range on there. If we go all the way down, it's going to be totally dry. And if we go all the way up, it's going to be 100% of 35% on there. So now I'm controlling the overall delay and reverb mix on there. Let's check that out. Another thing that you can add to this would be the overall feedback on the delay. Now, with any of these stereo delay types in here, you can just assign the expression pedal control to the feedback left, and then it will scale feedback right as we go. So let's right-click feedback left. Again, same source, pedal number 1 on here. In this case, though, I'm going to set my minimum feedback amount to around 30%, and I'll set my maximum feedback amount to, say, around 60% on here. So what's going to happen here is as I go from the heel down position on my expression pedal, I'm not only going to have a lower mix of the delay and reverb, I'm not going to have as many delay repeats on there. Furthermore, as I push forward, I'm going to get more prominent delays, and they are going to ring out and repeat longer and longer, along with more reverb as well, which is pretty cool. So let's try that. This is such an awesome way to add extra expression capabilities to your time-based effects. And let's go totally overboard on here. I've got a dual detune pitch block in here, and I've got a circular delay in the multi-tap delay. Now, I really like what I've got going on with the delay and the reverb. So what we're going to do is just blend in a little bit of that dual detune. Let's take it, say, from a minimum of, I don't know, around 10%, so it's still always on, up to a maximum of 20%, so it's subtle in there. And then we'll do a similar thing with the multi-tap delay in here. I've got the maximum mix set at 30%, and let's assign our pedal again to the input gain. In this case, let's have the minimum around 20% and the maximum only around 30%. So this is just going to blend in a tiny amount of extra circular delay and a tiny amount of extra dual detune on there, but the delay and the reverb are going to be going from a very low mix to a very high mix on there. This one's super cool. Oh, that's absolutely glorious. There's so many different fun combinations you can use with all the different blocks in here. Hopefully these examples show you the basics and give you some ideas to apply to your own presets in there. I'll play you all out with one last example here. I don't have anything assigned to the delay, the pitch, the multi-tap delay, or the reverb at the moment, and I'm using this Ursa major reverb, so a pitched reverb. What I'm going to do is go into Expert Edit right here, and I'm going to control the overall pitch mix. So I can go from a really lush stereo reverb to a stereo reverb with pitch shifting in there. So the way we do that is, let's go over to the pitch shift here. We are going to right click the pitch shift mix over here. Again, we'll set the source to pedal number 1. We'll go from a minimum of 0 to a maximum, again, around 50% on here. And this is a really gorgeous way to spice up your ambient tones on here. If you've got any other questions or requests, let me know in the comments section below. My VP4 blocks library and free IR are also linked in the video description if you want to check them out. Have a great week, and I will see you all on the next one.